Hey guys, good evening. Hope you all are doing great. We'll just quickly understand like what we have covered in our previous session, which is on 17th of September. So we try to understand more about the colors, the different options that are there in the colors, and how do you pick it up right from your workspace and then put it on your canvas so that you can easily paint your pictures or change your canvas colors. And then we've moved down to swatches, wherein we have seen different colors that are readily available for you. Whichever color you want to, you can pick it up from those swatches and then you can implement them on your canvas. You also have an option to load some other colors in the swatches as well. And then we have moved down to the adjustments, which is nothing but the layer effects. So we try to put up some black and white or some gray tint on our particular layer, and then we have seen like how it works with the different layers which are below the adjustment layers, and then we have seen like how to clip them up and unclip them. Then we have moved down to the styles panel, wherein we can load some different styles on your canvas, which can be replaced. They don't overlay on each other, they can be replaced. So now in today's session, this is what we are going to cover. We'll learn the workflow features, and in that we'll try to understand the smart objects and then channels, and if time permits we will also go through the masks. So let me open Photoshop for you. Yeah. So these smart objects can get a little complicated, when especially you're dealing with Photoshop in a nascent stage, or probably you're just starting out with the Photoshop, but they can be really useful when handled correctly and properly. So I request you all to pay some attention, and as soon as we are done with this session, I sincerely request you all to open your Photoshop on your laptops and just start practicing it. You don't have to practice large images, but just try to understand each and every tool, each and every option, how it works, because only practice will put things in your brain. So all the theory, all that sessions that we do here, I know you feel as if you've understood everything, but when you really open the Photoshop, there are chances wherein you can forget something. So please, after once we finish the session, just try to open up Photoshop and then try out all the options that we have covered. So you'll be thorough with the tools and its options. So coming back to the smart objects. So smart objects in Photoshop are really very helpful. They actually enhance your ability to edit the layers. So these smart objects work with the layers basically. So converting one of your layers into smart object, basically puts it inside a mini Photoshop document within your existing Photoshop document. So what I'm going to say is, when basically these smart objects work with the layers, and when you try to convert a layer into a smart object, it puts up as another document in your layer. So it's basically like a document in another document. Okay, that may not sound very useful, but I'll just show you why it's an incredibly powerful feature, and you should definitely give it a try. To start off with, let me just open a document for you all. I'm just saying Control O. The document that I've picked up for you is this for today's session. So I have a lot of hot air balloons on it. Let me quickly unlock this particular background layer. Just saying layer 0, I'm just saying OK. So it is right now unlocked. Now, in order to help you out understand how this particular smart objects work, I'll just pick up one balloon from here and then I'll put it in a separate layer. For that, I will have to now select a lasso tool, or probably if you remember, what's the other tool that we use for separating the a particular content in a layer? That's the pen tool. You can use either lasso or pen tool. That's up to you. I'm just zooming in the image a bit. I'll just try to select this. I'm using space bar on my keyboard. This will give me a hand option. Hand option will basically allow me to move my canvas however I like it. So I'm just trying to draw a line here on my balloon. Just drawing an outline. Just because this is an example, I'm not trying to go in detail. So this is done. I have selected a balloon, a hot air balloon. Now I'm just saying Control J. Control J will help me put my selected content into a different layer altogether. If I just hide this particular background layer, you see this layer. Now layer 1 is like visible. Background layer, which is this layer 0, is not visible. So I have this isolated, I have this separated. Now I'm making it independent. So both the things are visible. So I've made this as independent layer, this particular image. Now I will go and select the move tool out here, and I have a option to move my particular image. So I have not deleted this particular balloon from my background layer. Rather, I tried to select this particular balloon and then I have put that in a different layer. So this is my layer right now. So if I just close this, my balloon will be gone. If I open this, I can see the balloon right now. So I'm just placing my hot air balloon out here. As I've said, now I can move this and also edit this independently of everything else on my layer 1, of course. So this is really going to help me show you the difference between a smart object and of course a regular layer. So the first thing that I'll do is make sure I have the balloon layer selected, this particular balloon layer selected. Now I'm just clicking on this move tool. I'm saying don't apply. So this is my layer. I'm just selecting this move tool and then I'm pressing on the Alt key to duplicate the balloon. So I'm just pressing and holding on the Alt key and then I'm just trying to duplicate the balloon. See, I have 2 layers out here. Just because I've just duplicated this particular balloon, it has come here. So for duplication, you generally use the Alt key. So just press and hold the Alt key to duplicate. Now, I'm just right clicking on my particular layer 1. So this is my layer 1 and this is the copy that I have taken right now. So this is my layer 1. I'm just selecting on this layer. I'm just right clicking on this particular layer and then I'm selecting on the option called Convert to Smart Object. Okay. So I have converted my balloon on the left to smart object. Sorry, my balloon on the right to smart object. But it doesn't seem to look any different, right? When I compare this particular, layer 1 with layer 1 copy. So this is a layer and this is a smart object, but they both seem to be look, very similar. So there is no big difference between these two balloons, right? So now, all that I have done is selected a particular balloon, put that in a different layer, and I pressed and hold on the Alt key to duplicate that. So when I duplicated it, another layer got created. So I, made one of the layers into the smart object. Now we will try to understand the difference between a layer and a smart object. Okay, these smart objects in themselves aren't really special in a way, but it's what you can do with them later. So that makes them really special. So you don't have, they significantly don't show any drastic change whenever you create a layer into a smart object, but later on in future, you will definitely have a lot of advantages here. I will just show you like what I mean by editing, both my smart object and of course my regular layer at the same time. So let me just, press and hold the shift key to select both my layers. See here, both my layers got selected, my layer 1 smart object and my layer 1 copy, the regular layer. Both the layers got selected right now. To select both the layers, you will just have to click on the shift key. I request you all to, note it down somewhere so that you can, as soon as you, open the Photoshop, these shortcuts will really help you in making things really simpler. So now my both the layers are selected. My layer and of course my smart object here, both of them have selected. So I'm just pressing on Control T. Okay, Control T is for the free transformation. Okay, when I selected Control T, I have a lot of options out here. Control T is for the transformation. I have x-axis, I have y-axis here, I have width here, I have height here. Now, I'm just trying to, this is 100%, this is 100%, right? So I'm just changing this to 30% and 30%. Let me just change this to 30% and height to 30%. This is 300% out here. Just changing it to 30%. So just moving it here. See, when I move, the x-axis and y-axis coordinates also gets changed. Just try to observe here. When I'm just trying to move it out, my x-axis and y-axis pixels will also get changed. So I have put height as 30% and width as 30%. Now, I'm just trying to decrease the height and width of my smart object as well as my layer. Now I want this change to be done, so I'm just clicking on the check mark out here to commit to my transformation. So I've clicked on the check mark and now this is done. I have changed the size of my layer as well as the smart object. You know what? The two layers look exactly the same, right? So they both are a lot smaller, but I don't really see any difference in between two here, right? I'm sure even you are not able to find the difference out here. So now I'll just help you understand what the difference is. Now even both my layers are selected here, so I'll just keep it as it is. And now again I'll press on Control T to get my options on the top. I'm just saying Control T. So again these two have been selected, of course. So Control T, my options are back. So now I'm just trying to increase the height and width to probably like 150% or 200%. 200 is too big. Or 500. And this to 500 again. Or let me make it to 300. And of course 300. So this is done. So I've made it to 300 and 300. In the first case, I have just decreased the size of my particular canvas or particular layer and of course the smart object. In the second case, I'm just trying to increase back my height and width. So I just want this to be transformed, and then I'm just saying commit to my transformation. Now this will bring the original size back like before. So even we have shrunk it out. So well, now I'm sure you can find the difference out here. I'm just saying Control. Yeah. So I'm just trying to zoom in a bit. So now I'm sure you're able to find the difference. So this is my smart object on the right, and this is my layer on the left. Just forget about this middle image. So this is the background. I'll probably close this for now. So this is the right side is my smart object, and the left side is the regular layer. Just look at the quality of my regular layer. On the left, all the edges have really become horribly pixelated, right? You see a very blurred and dull image out here on the left. I'll tell you what, this is because when you shrink a regular layer, the layer ends up using less pixels. Then what happens is like Photoshop deletes the pixels that are not being used. So if you want to try to bring it out, Photoshop should actually guess like what it looked like in the first place but all the originality of that particular image is like really gone. So let's say I'm asking Photoshop to shrink this to 50%. So what it does is like uses all the, it lessens the pixel. For an example, so let us say an image has 100 pixels. Now I'm asking Photoshop to shrink it out or to reduce the size of the image. So when I'm asking Photoshop to reduce it, so only 50 pixels are really are really required to showcase a picture in a very decent way. So what Photoshop does is the other 50 pixels, it will delete it off completely and permanently. So my shrink is done. The quality is maintained. Very good. So now when I want my particular picture to be back in that 100%, so all that 50% is gone. So in that 100%, my 50% pixels should expand or should pixelate, right? So that's the reason the quality got compromised, and hence we are seeing this pixelated image, or in a common terms, we are looking at a blurred image. Now let's have a look at the smart object at the right hand side. It really looks like as if we have not resized it at all, right? It's really perfect. It's not pixelated. It really looks like what it used to be before, like before we resized it. That's because technically we have not resized it. So smart object did not get resized. Okay, remember when I've said that a smart object is a mini document within your original document. So it doesn't resize it, but it retains the all the pixels. So whenever I want to resize it, only that particular in-depth layer will get resized, whereas the original is still there. So whenever I want to get back to my original size, so that particular original will come up. So I'm technically not resizing this smart object. I can open my smart object by double clicking the layer out here. So it really gives me a dialog box here. So I'll have to click on OK of this dialog box. We'll just try to understand more about it in after a few minutes. I'm just saying OK. Now, if you see, I'm inside my particular smart object. Okay, and here you can see that it's completely isolated from the rest of my image, right? And this particular image is like retaining 100% quality. So whatever was pixelated was there, but my smart object has retained this 100% originality. So just whenever I've just double clicked on my smart object, it just took me to a a new document out here. If you see, this is the new document. So I've got inside the smart object. Now, when you just convert a layer into a small object, it creates an entirely separate document just for the contents of that particular layer. So I don't have any background out here. See, I just have the content of the layer. It really creates a separate document. I will close this for now and just go back to my original document and make this layer visible, layer 0 visible. So now you better understand, like that smart object is basically a link to separate document. This particular thing when I double click here, I've just gone to a new document, right? So basically smart object is a link to a separate document, and I can resize it as much as I want without losing the original quality. Just give me a second out here. Now, so another benefit of using the smart object is when we use like filters. Filters, we haven't discussed this yet, but I'll just bring in filters here just for our understanding. In our later classes, we'll just discuss more about these filters. Filters are there on the top. Options of Photoshop. I'm just trying to move this a bit. Here is the filters option. So another benefit of these smart objects comes with this filters. So first I'll select my regular layer, this one. This is the regular layer, right? So I'm just selecting this. I'm just going to the options out here. I'll just go to filter. I'll select the blur tool, and which one do we select here? Probably a Gaussian blur. And it is asking me to give the radius of the blurriness. So it's not getting blurred out here. I'll just increase this a bit, increase this a bit, increase this a bit, probably 30%. This should be 30%. I'm just considering this line as 100%. I'm just trying to put it as 30% out here, 50% is this, so 30% should be this. Just clicking on OK. Now, see this particular layer got blurred. Okay, so this basically blurred my regular balloon, and it's really kind of like, overkill. So if I, look into my layers panel, there are like no extra options for me or the ways to reduce this particular blur. So since this is my regular panel, regular layer, when I look at my layers panel on the right hand side, I don't see any extra options is what I was trying to tell you. So I'll just blur it out, and I just can't overdo it or redo it. Now I'm going to go ahead and keep this. Probably, in fact, I want to repeat the same steps and apply the blur to my smart object. So let me just select the smart object. I'll just go up, go to filter, go to blur, and what's the blur we have selected? It's Gaussian blur. Okay. So of course this is 30%. Yeah, I'm just saying, clicking on OK. Now, if you see on the screen, both the blurs look very similar, right? But just pay attention to this layers panel out here. You can see this Gaussian blur as an option below my smart object. So this is my smart object, right? So I can see this Gaussian blur as an option below my smart object layer. Now, if I just don't want this blur to appear here, I can actually click on this eye icon. So I'm just hiding this particular blur. Whereas I don't have this similar option to my regular layer. This is my regular layer, and if I really don't want the blur to be here, I don't have any option below this layer wherein I can choose between the blur and non-blur image. So here again, when I open this particular Gaussian blur, my smart object got blurred again. I can actually double click here to increase the blur size. I can select the mode out here. I have an huge list. I can increase the blur or decrease the blur. It's my wish. I can do anything possible. Just closing that. So this is the advantage of the smart object when combined with the filter. So you always have an option below your smart object wherein you can either showcase it, or if you want to really compare how it looks like without and with effect, you can actually, it's just a click away. You can either open the eye icon or close the eye icon. So this is really helpful. So these filters aren't really permanent at all in smart objects, of course. So they are not permanent, whereas in layers they are of course permanent. So you can't remove it, or you can't do anything until and unless you undo it completely by using Control Alt and Z. So really what a contrast, right? So to the regular layers wherein we can't even hide the filter, nonetheless change its values after the cut. Now, another great feature of using the smart objects in conjunction with the filters is the ability to mask the particular filter. So if I want to hide a specific area of my blur, I can just do that, I'm just clicking on the smart filter mask. Just a second out here. Excuse me for that. So now, like I said, if I really don't want something to be there, I can actually hide a specific area if I don't want an image to be completely blurred. Now, in this case, we have blurred the complete image, right? So, what if I really don't want to blur the complete image? Rather, I would want to blur a specific part of it. I can actually do that. So, I'm just clicking on here, this particular area in the smart filters. This is called as smart filters. When I click here, all my tools get enabled. Previously, they were not enabled when I click here. So I'm just clicking here. All the tools get enabled. Now, I will select a black brush. I'll just go here, select a brush tool. I'll select the black color, of course, it's there. And I'm just trying to paint here. Observe this, when I'm just trying to paint out here, the blur is like going out and my original image is like coming out, right? You can see this here. When I'm painting out here with my black brush, I don't see any blackness here. I'm not brushing it with black really, but whatever color was there previously, it is getting revealed. The originality of the image is like coming out. So if in an image, if you really don't want the complete image to get blurred, all that you will have to do is select that particular image, of course in the smart object, and then click on the black brush and then just try to paint it out. I am sure you remember that we have discussed black always reveals and white conceals. Okay, now, so I will now reveal some more part of it. So just to help you understand how things work. We are done with this and now we'll just move on to the next part of it. I'm just trying to delete this Gaussian blur layer out here. So this is gone. So the blur layer is gone. Now my smart object is again back to normal. So I'll just duplicate it a few times on my canvas and then I'll just try to resize it. Let me just move this. I just want to duplicate it several times, or probably just 2 or 3 times. I'm just pressing on the Alt key. Then I'm just trying to duplicate it. Right? I just duplicated it twice. And then I'm just trying to resize this so that they look, more like how they used to be. Okay. I'm just trying to commit to this. Move tool. Alt. So now this is done. I've just resized it. Now remember, all these are linking back to the same balloon. So whatever I have duplicated right now, all these duplicates are linking back to the same, or one single particular document, or I can say balloon out here. So just because I've just put the balloon as sample and then I've just tried to duplicate it from that particular balloon, they all are treated to be linked to each other. So I'm just going to enter into my smart object again by double clicking its thumbnail out here. Okay. Okay. Let me just go into a smart object. So I'm just double clicked on this particular smart object. So again, this particular window has popped up. So this basically says after editing the contents, choose file save to commit to the changes. Those changes will be reflected upon returning to workflow example file. This is my image name. The file must be saved to the same location. If the save as dialog box appears, choose cancel and flatten the image before saving. So it basically says that I will have to save my smart object before any changes will link back to my original document. Or I can say don't show again, click box, check box, and then I'm just saying okay. So right now I'm into my smart object layer out here, and I just double clicked on my smart object. I'm just coming into the new document as we have discussed. It's basically a hyperlink to go into your document content or smart object content. Now, here we can actually see the balloon. This again got isolated from the whole mass of balloons. And this document has its own particular layer out here. If you see on the right hand side, I'm just trying to make a new layer on top of this layer. So this is the icon right below the trash icon. I can make a new layer out here, right? So I've just clicked on this. I've made a new layer above my layer one, and now I'll use my brush tool. Where is the brush tool out here? Here we go. I'm using my brush tool. I'll select a black color. I'm just trying to decrease the brush size by clicking on the open bracket on my keyboard. And now I'll just try to put up some symbol. Let's say probably a question mark. So this question mark I've just created using this brush tool, and this is in my layer 2, of course, so that we have just created. So now I'm saying Control S on my keyboard to save this particular thing that I have done, which is like creating a question mark using the black brush out here, and then I'm saying Control W. Control W is to close your particular document. So if you see, whatever I've just duplicated, has come here, right? The question mark that I've just created out there has come here. Now that we are in our, back to our original document, the question mark is like, on my linked smart objects. So this is, because they are linking back to each other to the exact same balloon, okay, with my question mark on it. See, we have selected one particular balloon. We have, pressed on the Alt key and then tried to duplicate it, right? So we have created 3 balloons, and then we have tried to resize particular balloon. Then what we did is like, we have double clicked on a particular layer, and then we have gone to a new document. We have entered the smart object, and in that smart object, there was a layer, and then we have created another layer above it, and then we have tried to put up a question mark using the brush tool. So then after that, we have tried to save that particular action, or we have tried to save that particular layer in this smart object. And then we have tried to close the document by pressing Ctrl W, and then we are back to the original document. So just because all the balloons are interrelated to each other, or probably interlinked to each other, or what the other 2 balloons got birth, they were given birth by this particular balloon. So whatever change was there to that particular balloon, every other balloon has got the same thing. So what, this can be incredibly helpful or useful if you need to apply the same changes in several objects. The best part about it is I can always go back to my smart object and change it again. For an example, let me just go back again. So I'm in my smart object now. Just because we have clicked on the dialog box, it says don't ask this question again and again. So we have clicked on OK, right? Hence the dialog box or the warning box did not appear. So I'm again back into my smart object. Now I'll just try to put up some other symbol out here. So my brush is enabled with the black color. So I'm just trying to put up some other thing out here. Just trying to brush here. So I'll just put up a V. And then I'm just saying Control S. So I've saved it. All that I want to prove out here is, even if you want to append a change, if you want to add a particular change to all the documents, you only have to enter into one smart object, click whatever you want to edit, whatever you want to do, you can do that. And then you will have to say Control S. Control S is for saving. I'm just pressing on Control S and save the document. And then I'm just clicking on Control W. Control W will close the document and will get back your previous document. Now, if you see here, all the three balloons have got that V symbol, right? So this means all the smart objects are interrelated to each other. We have duplicated one from another, so hence they are linked to each other. So whatever change you've done and you do in one smart object will get reflected to another smart objects, or to all the smart objects for that matter, which are linked to each other. These three are the smart objects, right? This is the original background thing. So these three are the smart objects, and this is a regular layer. So all the smart objects will have that particular functionality, wherein if you put up something on one, it will be like reflected for the others as well. So this is like really helpful when you're working, on some. For an example, if you are working on some social posts and for Facebook posts, for an example, and they have asked you to put up same background for the multiple posts. All that you will have to do is like create some smart objects, give an effect to one layer, one particular smart object layer, and then every other layer or every other image will have this have it duplicated. So this is really helpful. So you don't have to repeat your process again and again. Enough. In our previous class, we have discussed about the actions. So wherein we have an option to record something you do and then apply it to other document that you would want the same change to get appended. So action is one of the ways wherein you can repeat that particular change or effect, and this smart objects is another way. So we have two ways. One is to record everything and then hit on another document and then say play. Another way is by using a smart object. Convert your layer into smart object. Put up something, go to another document, just go into the smart object layer, just try to give it some effect, put up something out there, and then everything will get reflected. So these both are really helpful. Just remember, try to get yourself trained more on actions and of course the smart objects. So this is all about the smart objects. So let's move on to the next option that we are talking about in the workflow, which is channels. So I'm sure we all have painted in our childhood days. We all use some paint in computers and real-time drawing and all, right? So if you've ever painted or used some crayons, I'm sure everybody have used that, because these days schools have made it compulsory to have some drawing classes, painting classes. Somebody has it like somebody might have interest, or I'm sure we all try to enjoy the crayons. So you will definitely know that we don't really always start out with the exact colors we want to. In fact, you may only have access to few different colors. In our paint box, you only have an access to 12 colors or 15 colors, or probably max to max 20 colors or 30 colors, right? we don't have a huge set until and unless we are a professional painter. So for them, they have around 100 to 150 colors in their paint box. So what you learn early on is that sometimes you have to mix certain colors together to get the exact color you want to, right? I'm sure everybody tried this out. When you mix some brownish color with white colors, brown color with the white color, you will get some darker skin tone or skin color. So that is how we when we are trying to paint up a face and when we want the skin color to appear on the face, all that we will do is we'll mix up brown and white color to get that skin tone color. So this, I'm sure everybody would have tried this. So when you see a detailed photographs on computer, you may see anywhere from hundreds to thousands or even millions of different colors. Do you really believe this? We have like millions and millions of different colors available on the computer graphics or computers for that matter. So what if I've told you all those images or pictures or whatever you see are made up of that are made up in the real time or in computer are of only 3 different colors. Okay, that's right. Images in the computer, of course, mainly especially are made up of 3 different colors. That's when you combine these colors, it's in a really complex way that you'll get these fantastic results. So the 3 colors, I'm sure you guessed it right by now. They are whatever you see on the screen are of red, green, and of course blue. So whenever you want to bring up a different color, all the, whatever your blacks, your whites, or your yellow and all, by mixing up different combinations of colors, you will get the different color ranges that you are expecting. Pink, magenta, these are not there in the original spectrum. Only red, greens, and blues are really used. So that's the reason, especially in computers. And hence, whatever we use on the computers, we say red, green, and blue. So whenever you are working on a print material, then we'll use CMYK. So we'll discuss about that later. Now, in Photoshop, you can actually access these particular colors individually. So these reds, these greens, and these blues, you can access all these colors individually. So these are called as channels. So in Photoshop, these are called as channels. Right now, I don't have the channels panel out here. I just have the layers and parts. So let me just go to the window, find out where channel is. Here we go. I'm just clicking here, and here my channel panel appears. So this is my channel panel right beside the layers panel. Right now, I see like 4 different colors out here: the red, the blue, the green, and of course the combination of R, G, and B. So every layer is like right now selected. I see icon on every layer, hence I'm able to see this image colorfully. It's exactly how it was downloaded or how it was made. Okay, now I will hide red color probably, just hiding this red color. Okay, so my entire image really got changed. The color of my image got changed, right? Now we are seeing an image without red or whatsoever. So there's absolutely no red combination in the image. When I say red, it's the combination color that has come out of the red color. The red also includes, of course, but all the colors that have given birth out of red color are also not visible because I have hidden that layer. So now instead here when I've just put hid my red layer, I'm seeing a combination of green and blue, right? So whatever I'm seeing on the screen, it's either blue or green wherever it is. I don't see any other color other than this. Now what I do is I also hide my green channel. Here is my green, so I just hit red. So when I've hit red, so this particular RGB also got hidden because this is a combination of all three colors. I'm also now trying to hide this particular green color. You see, everything again got changed. My image, actually turned into black and white if you see it. Right, I don't see any other color. But how does that work? So when I just hit green, so my blue should appear, right? But it does not work like that. If you're supposed to be seeing some, only blues, that's because without any other color at the disposal, the channel is showing me the value of blues. So whatever was there in the blue color, it's just showing a bit darker, but this is actually showing me the value of blues. So this is not blues, but this is just the value of blues. So here white represents the purest form of the blue, where blue is most present, while black represents the absence of blue entirely. So wherever, just forget about these blacks. So wherever you have a lot of black, that means blue is like, completely avoided. So blue isn't there. The absence of blue is nothing but the black. Just remember, the absence of blue is nothing but the black. So whenever there is like pure white, so it means it's the purest form of the blue. Okay, if you have that, there's no blue, it's called black. If there's a purest form of blue, then that's white. So just try to remember this. So since this blue channel is mostly white, we can assume that most of the image isn't like really blue. Now, I will show green now, and I'm just trying to hide blue. Okay. Now we are getting slightly some darker background, right? So in some of these balloons here out have darkened up. These balloons are really darkened up. Previously, when green was disabled, these are these are very light color, right? So I'm just enabling green, and then when I'm deselecting blue, the balloons have become in darker color than what they used to be in the previous case when we have hit green. So this is because there's less green than there. There's a lot of blue in the image overall, right? Now I will show red channel and then hide green channel. Just trying to put this up. I'm just trying to work out the different combinations. When I've put red and green, you can see the combinations of red and green out here, right? See. Now I'm just trying to show red channel and then hide green channel. Now see how things works. You may notice in some areas that blacks and whites don't change no matter what the channel we are on. So these blacks and whites are not changing. Sometimes it's really getting darker and sometimes it's really getting lighter. So basically, in any other combination, in any of the other combination, blacks and whites are not changing at all. So this is because pure white contains the maximum values and of all the colors at the same time. So while pure black is the absence of all the three colors. So if there's a pure white, that means it's the combination. It's the purest combination of all the colors, and it's basically the max value of all the three colors results in pure white. Whereas a pure black is the absence of all the three colors. Okay, so anyways, that now that I'm in the red channel, some interesting things have really happened out here. I'll tell you what. If you see the sky, it has got darkened, right? So the sky is darkened considerably, and now I'm seeing a lot of variation in the checker pattern of the balloons. Previously, they are like not really visible. Now, if you see, they are like not visibly good. For an example, Just trying to put up blue, so they're just very lightly visible out here, right? So now they're like very prominent. You can see channels are pretty neat, but it may be hard to see the practical applications of the channels. But I'll be able to get more in depth with the channels when we start using them in conjunction with the photography based projects. Channels are really essential for somebody working with some photographs. We'll be getting into this section of photographs in very soon. Probably after 5 to 6 or 8 sessions, we'll get into the photography sessions, and we'll just try to understand how you manipulate the images. So as said, these channels, we might not really try to see them in practical right now, but I just I've just put up this particular section out here just to help you understand how the RGB color combinations work. So if you see all these wedding photographers and all, right? So they basically use channels to put up some different combinations. They try to change the background whenever whosoever, if the face is really dull, they try to increase the complexity, complication of the face, or I can say they can increase the intensity of the light. They can do anything possible, right? It's just because they try to play around with the RGBs. They try to put up different combinations of RGBs. They can put up some nice backgrounds. They can place you somewhere in Himalaya. They can do anything possible. The best way to learn Photoshop, if you really want to get some hands-on experience, just go sit beside the photographers and just try to understand how they really manipulate the images. So they don't even use the mouse. All that they use is keyboard shortcuts. It's like fingertips. They have the shortcuts on fingertips. So they try to really work very fast. So you might just want to sit with them and then probably for a week and then try to understand the manipulation very well. So you also have an option to combine the RGB colors. You can put, if in 100% scale, if you put R in 60%, G in 30%, and blue in 10%, there's a different color combination altogether. It's not only the combination of all the G's and B's, it's also the percentage combination of all these three colors. So in the tomorrow's session, we'll just try to understand more about the masks. So masks, we have already touched on it a few times in our previous sessions, but now that we have a chance, we'll just try to understand a bit deeper into like how they work. So if you have any questions in this session, you can just feel free to put it forward. So I once again request you all to kindly just go through all the sessions that we have done so far. Just try to implement them practically and try to understand the more options of it. Okay, then thanks for your time, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll understand more about the masks and some other workflow features. Have a good day. Bye-bye.